Hello, thank you for joining us today on Christ, Culture, and Coffee, and we are back today with some very special guests on the podcast.
Yes, we're here with Bob Dunn, who's my not old friend.
Oh, no, he's old.
We're old friends, is what I mean.
You have an old relationship.
An old relationship.
Be careful
that's
with
what
that.
I'm saying.
Be careful.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. And Bob, I don't know how to explain. You are the director of Youth Link. You've been a youth pastor in the Valley since forever. You kind of innovated it here. For real, for what other guys are doing. You're up to date on what guys do all around the Valley. You mentor and disciple youth pastors so they can do the best they can at their church. And you're an awesome guy, and you like to hike. So you do, I don't know what your title would be. Just like,
Right?
I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah.
People say, what do you do?
Yeah.
What is it
How
that
do you
do?
quantify that, right?
And Trevor said from here, he goes, I define you, Bob, as the youth pastor whisperer.
Yeah, that's it.
right.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Anyway, and Mario here, what do you say?
I define him as the Yoda of youth ministry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that makes sense. I always thought Gandalf, but yeah, Yoda's
Yeah,
good too.
Yoda.
So,
The
yeah,
Yoda
so
of youth ministry.
We're here with Bob Dunn and then Mario Delgado.
Yes,
Not
yes.
Mario.
Not
we
Mario,
decided that earlier.
yeah.
It's Mario. That's the right way to pronounce
You'll
it.
probably hear Mario in a little bit, though.
Yep. And you're at Rock Point Church out in
Point
the
Church.
East Valley here
On
in
the East Valley,
Arizona. And what is your exact title?
So right now, I'm over all of youth, so I'm the youth director.
Okay.
Up until recently, for the last year and a half, I was the youth seminary director, which I'll explain on what we're about to talk about today.
Right.
That's awesome, man. Yes, this is going to be a fun episode. I'm excited about talking through these things.
Yes, super exciting. But also, this is Christ, Culture, and Coffee, so we're very about coffee with our special guests here. And coincidentally, today, the day we're shooting this on September 29th, is National Coffee Day. This is National Coffee Day. So
This
it's
is
kind of
like our Christmas spot.
It is.
It is, man.
And that's why we have coffee for you
Just
guys.
kidding. Like, yeah.
I'm
I
loving
think
this
Christmas
cup.
is important.
Right?
Come on.
Yeah, so that's why we're just super big about coffee on the show. It's something that kind of breaks the ice. We want to get to know you guys more. So tell us, do you like coffee? And if so, what do you drink? What's your preferred drink?
Go ahead, Bob. Make it happen.
I like going to Mythical Coffee. That is in downtown Gilbert. So
Okay.
it tends to be the hangout for a lot of youth guys, a lot of people there. And so we hang out there, and I take just their plain drip black
Nice.
coffee.
Yeah.
All right.
Man,
I like that. I like that.
just straight on,
Yep.
In fact, I got a little
good.
flavoring in this one right here today, so I'm really cut aside from it, but it's good stuff.
That's awesome.
That's
Mythical.
cool.
If you're ever out almost close to New Mexico in Gilbert, Arizona. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We live on the west side, so like we're close to LA.
right.
But yeah.
You're on your way to New Mexico, and you need a cup of coffee.
That's right.
There you
Downtown
go.
Gilbert.
That's the place
There
to
it
go.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And then there's the barbecue place down there too. Right?
Joe's Barbecue. Yep. Hey,
We should get
have some
endorsements.
Great stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
we should get endorsements from these guys.
Yeah.
That's the same
Seriously.
list, yeah.
Barrio Queen, Culinary Dropout, Liberty
it, stop
Market.
it, stop it.
Man,
That's
those
it.
are all the great places.
Hey, now they didn't
Send
pay us
checks,
for
send
this.
checks, everyone. Send checks.
They didn't pay us for this. That's not. Yeah.
What about you, Mario? Coffee
Man,
wise,
new favorite spot, my buddy's spot. Him and his wife just opened it. I think they had their 1 year anniversary here. Deseo, a coffee shack, had their Mexican culture when we were talking about Christ's culture, coffee here, right? So,
Right.
mazapan is a Mexican candy, and they put this in a drink, and it is fire.
You love it.
Okay.
Fire.
That's
it's
awesome.
right
Yeah.
off the 50. I had to pull it up. It's right off the 51 in Thomas. Pretty
Okay.
much.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
right
not that
down
far.
there.
From where I
Yeah,
live.
so
That's
it
great.
is
Yeah.
amazing. Make sure to stop there. The Sale,
that.
a coffee shack.
Nice.
All right,
I'll check
that's
it out
cool.
sometime. Next time I'm over that way.
Yeah.
Try it out.
Well, cool. So you guys are doing some really interesting stuff out at Rock Point with, like you said, being the pastor of the seminary for the youth and all the stuff you're doing. And you guys have a prime location, too, being right next to, I mean, like literally right next to a high school there. So you have some cool opportunities, but you guys have also taken advantage of that spot. I know a lot of churches that are right next to high schools, and they don't really engage with them. You guys take the opposite approach, and you want to be a benefit to your community and a benefit to the church that's there and reach students where they're going 5 days a week on campus. So tell us a little bit about like how you've done that, why you guys did that, and what's been successful.
Crazy, yeah. So not only is it a high school, it is a 7th through 12th grade.
Oh, nice.
High school,
Okay.
public high school. It's in the Chandler Unified School District, but we're on the border of Queen Creek. And so Rock Point Church, I call it out there in Queen-Tucky. That's where we're at. And so, yeah, we back up to this public high school. I didn't know it was going to get built there when we built our facilities there 7 years ago or so now. They just had their first graduating class man, I'm lost with all this COVID stuff now. I mean, that's the second one. Now we're going on to the third year. So yeah, they've only been going 5-6 years now.
Okay.
And so
That's cool. Wow.
in that, we know we wanted to have this culture of being for the community, being for the schools, and being able to adopt a school and just love on them and love on our neighbors and be able to do life with them on campus. And so this was birthed back in 2016, 2017, where we called it Rock Point Seminary. And we saw what the Mormons were doing. And man, they're killing it, right? They're crushing it when it comes to community and when it comes to high school students signing up for this seminary that they have, right? And so we started seeing that. It's like, okay, what is it that we can do? Can we even do anything, to make a bigger impact when it comes to discipling Christians? And so we launched what we call Rock Point Seminary, like I said, years back, and ultimately what it is high school students walk over from the school to the church to get discipled and get poured into. And they have to sign up for a 0-hour and online class, because right now it's not a accredited class. It's not an elective class. They have to sign up for that elective still, whether it's online or an 8-hour, 0-hour is what they call it there. And so right now we have 2 classes. I got a 3rd hour and a 5th hour class where we have these high school students, 9th through 12th grade, walk over, and we disciple, pour into, love on, do life with, and send them back to the mission field of their campus.
That's
where there's
awesome.
3,300 students at.
That's awesome.
That's a really good opportunity, like especially the location of being like close to a school where they can walk to it like that. Like
Game changer.
And that's what you were saying. That's actually a lot of Mormon churches do that now. They strategically plant by schools because they know that's a big ministry opportunity. So people need to be capitalizing on that.
Yeah,
that's
we need to get to that. We need to get to that place.
Yeah.
How can we get into those circles to know what's going to be planted when it's planted to plant the church right next to it?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And for our listeners, because we have a lot of people from Arizona who listen, but a lot of people like internationally even. Yeah. And so like the East Valley of Phoenix is very Mormon heavy. I don't think we know that because we live here.
Heavy
but a lot of people don't know that. And Mormonism is very popular in Arizona by and large. I mean, all of northern Arizona pretty much was founded by Mormons. And it's because Brigham Young sent them down and sent them up. So that's why Idaho, Utah, and Arizona's Mormon, because he was trying to make literally Mormon land in Mexico because it wasn't the United States back then. He was trying to make his own country. But that's why we have so many Mormons. And Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler is very, very Mormon. And so it's awesome that you guys are there running a counterpoint to false doctrine with true doctrine, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's so great. And so now, like, when I was a youth pastor, you have a lot of parents come and gently suggest things when they think you should.
A lot of parents are very nice.
Yeah. And so a lot are, But there's this expectation sometimes, not always, but sometimes with, you need to, can you get my kid on the right track? Can you fix my kid? And I always say, listen, we're going to do what we can here. But let's be honest, if your kid came to everything I'm doing, I see your kid for 2 hours a week and you live with them. So I think seriously, you have more of an influence on them than I do. But that whole idea of, being a youth pastor, and I mean, at best, you're seeing, not dialoguing with, not mentoring, not discipling kids 2 hours a week. You're seeing each kid 2 hours a week, and that's it. So how does this seminary model that you guys are running help with just more access to pouring into students' lives?
Well, what we found with that, because that national average is somewhere around 1.8 times a month, the average kid or person makes the local church. That's the ones that are committed to going.
Sure.
That's my church.
That's probably even worse now.
And probably coming out of COVID, it'll probably be worse than that. So when we talk about students coming out of our programs and the huge amount of them that are leaving their faith or challenging their faith or questioning their faith, we go, well, how do we build deeper spiritual formation and discipleship into their lives when we just don't see them that much? So we realized that if we could get an opportunity in a release time to be able to see them every day for 40 minutes, oh my goodness, start doing your math on that, what could happen out of it? And so in that, we saw the opportunity of being able to do that. And from that, Mario, tell them a little bit about what that looks like as the kids come over, because they have regular classes and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when I'm over there watching it, these kids come over and it's like it is a release time from the campus and this kind of thing, but they come over and there's community. There's just, they can come over and breathe and be themselves.
Yeah.
And in that, we just see kids really hungry for the Word of God.
That's awesome.
And realize what's the alternative? They have 1 or 2 times a month that they're going to be in their local church.
Yeah.
So you figure those hours, and then you figure the hours of how much they're on this.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, what's the comparison?
With
to that?
everything else getting thrown their way with sports and extracurricular activities, if you could somehow weave that into their schedule where it's automatically there, game changer, right? And you could give them into a safe place where they could come and be themselves, come as you are, take that mask off, be vulnerable, be real. There's a community that's here that loves you, that's for you.
Yeah.
To go and do that with everybody else on campus there too as well.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's a game changer.
Well, because and by and large, like in youth ministry, parents typically are going to make sure their kids are at their extracurricular sporting events and activities, not at Wednesday night youth group, right? You lose tons of kids when football season's going on because you got cheerleaders, you got band, you got football. So they're there because church isn't the priority. So you're absolutely right. How can we be, shrewd as serpents? How can we be smart and get into the system of the lives and the rhythm of families that they're already in order to capitalize on being more instrumental in their life? And not to mention, like, you know what it's like on the weekends. Kids will come in and like, hey, my teacher said this. I had somebody say this. How do I talk about this? Man, wouldn't it be better if you could just be doing that through the week as they're encountering that? Are you kidding me? Obviously, it's better. More touches, more conversations, more encouragement, more prayer. It's huge. And so I love this idea of release time and seminary, training them as they're 5 days a week, right? Not just hopefully Sunday and Wednesday or Sunday and whenever
if
your
they
midweek
make it,
is.
when they
If
make
they
it.
make it. Yeah, that is just so awesome. So I think it's a great idea. You guys have kind of cracked the nut on this. You're doing it. It's successful. How do we start to replicate it? How do we start to get it out? How can we help other churches that are listening to this going, man, how do I do that? Like, Mario, where do I start? What do I do?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Do you fly out and do a seminar on this? Like, what are we doing here? Because other places need to be doing this. This is the direction, I think. Bob and I have been talking about this for a while. This is the direction that things need to go. In order to really be instrumental in kids' lives so that they're not leaving the church after they graduate, so that they're not getting disillusioned with it, so that they see, hey, there's actually value in this whole thing for me in my regular life, not just I do this thing on the weekend, So how do we replicate this? What do we
I think
do?
one of the things that really changed perspective for a lot of people is when they started showing up and started seeing what was actually happening. Because you could tell people all day, hey, this is what we're doing, and go run with it. And it's just like, okay, well, what do you mean? What do you do?
Yeah.
Like, it's even right now as we're talking about this, there's people thinking in their head right now, like, what does this actually look like? What does this actually mean, right? And so we open up our doors to people all the time. I mean, Bob brings everybody, right? And he's a networker.
He knows everybody.
So he brings everybody in. Hey, come check out what's going on at Rock Point. Come check out what's going on with Castillo High. Come check out what's going on through Seminary. And so he brings people in and just blows people's minds.
Yeah.
I mean, just to see these circles, these students, these youth really just not just. How can I say, what we say is we just don't learn just for information, right? But for transformation, to live that out in our lives, to help each other as the church body, and to go and point people to Jesus there too as well, right? And so you're seeing that with these students. They're not only owning their faith, but they're going out there and they're pointing people to Jesus by loving them like Jesus, like you've never seen before.
Awesome.
And it is amazing. And so I think one of the things is like, hey, if anybody ever wants to show up, reach out to us.
Yeah.
You're right. And let us know. Like, we would love to have you come in and just check out what God's doing there. Number one.
Awesome.
With that is right now, me and Bob and a couple others that we've teamed up with here to really see what this model looks like across the board, across the state of Arizona, because I know it's something that we need, not only here, but all of the United States, right? And so we partner with an organization called School Ministries, and School Ministries is a nonprofit organization that helps start, sustain, mentor, coach, these release time programs into becoming what it needs to become for those communities, states, cities, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
There. And so we've partnered with this organization where they're walking us through everything right now. We're still kind of pioneering mode. We're still trying to figure things out. We're still trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and what's next. And so we're still working on all of that here together. And one of the things that we're working on there too as well is this Release Time Credit Act. where people are like, okay, well, if I have to sign up for a 0-hour or an online class,
Not going to do it.
gosh,
sure.
it's tough because I'm sacrificing my time. I'm sacrificing. I mean, some of them are having to put in extra work to be a part of this class. But if I could get a credit for this class, man, talk about.
It's part of school. At
Yeah.
that point,
Yeah.
it's part of my school day.
It's part of my school day, right? And so students are already signing up for this class without that. So just imagine with that, how much that's going to change.
That'd be huge.
Right, and so that's what we're working on right now. Bob, you can speak on that a little bit regarding the Release Time Credit Act.
Yeah. Well, we started looking around the country and saying, who else is doing something like this? And so we saw several areas and pockets in the country that were doing release time, specifically at the high school level.
Okay.
And so we were interested in that. And then we found school ministries. And recently, their national board came together and interviewed us and said, now we want you to be our state office for Arizona for release time nationally for Arizona. So we're not sure what that all means as we're going through it.
We're still trying to figure that out.
We're going, hey, that really sounds good, you know.
Well, sure.
But in the process of looking at that, we looked across the country and found out within the last number of years, probably a decade or less, that 6 states have passed through their state legislature and getting signed by their governor to endorse that release time credit.
Okay.
So in that, and so we have looked at how they worded that, how did they get it passed, and ironically, it has passed on both sides of the aisle. Well, over 90%. Being passed. And so we've looked at sort of the boilerplate of how they put all those together. So I lined all those up, what that bill looked like. And so we've sort of formed the Arizona bill. And so now it's all the work of getting endorsements, getting people, getting to the politicians, going by principals, superintendents of school districts, this kind of thing to say, what do you think about this? And can you imagine for people out there that are wondering, is there any hope for the youth of America? We could actually have biblical education as a credited class. In high school.
Is that crazy?
Is that just...
So pray for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on right now.
That would be awesome.
We're just going, wow, this could be something. So we're putting, a lot of pressure and a lot of emphasis and a lot of time to see if we can get this put together. So it's
That's huge.
Yeah, it's exciting. And it with Rock Point, they have put a person on staff just over Castile since they're right next to her. But what we're looking at is more of an idea and a template that churches around that school. So every church out there, there's a school in the middle of it. There's a high school there. Where is that, Michville? Now let me think. Oh, that would be that school that's right there. That a lot of our youth ministries, we want them to come to our campus. But it's I think that attractional model, and I think we need to go out there instead of come and see. We need to go. And we need to go out and see where they're at. So it is developing that, and it is having churches come around that local high school and partnering together to be a part of that. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, so if people are out there listening and they think this sounds insane, like how is that legal to because I thought, Bob, there's a separation of church and state, so you can't teach Bible stuff in school, and you can't have people come to your church and count that. Like, what degrees does Mario have? Does he have a certified teaching certificate in Arizona? I mean, I'm sure people's minds are blown up, right? So the key though is there's 6 other states that have already passed this.
Yes.
And it's already been legal. You were telling me since 1914.
Yeah, it's over 100
years.
100 years it has been recognized, and it has gone through several court systems to where the Supreme Court really mandated or said this is legal.
That's awesome.
Across the United States
Wow.
as release time. And the last time I think it got a lot of endorsement and this kind of thing was, I think, early 1950s. And no one has refuted it since then because that was a Supreme Court decision that was put out there. So in it, we just feel we have a lot to look at that I think we can move ahead, and we're optimistic about it.
I think it's great.
We think this is
especially on the east side of town, right? When we talked about the whole Mormon population, there's an LDS church right next to every big local high school. Here's the thing: a couple things is that one thing I started asking myself, and I was in this position the past year and a half of leading students through Rock Point Seminary was, if the Mormons can do it, why can't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
For sure, and that's the thing. And I was wondering too. So with this whole thing, something that people may be asking too. Now, if this came in place, would this be like optional as an elective, or is it like this is in place now as a part of the curriculum?
That is a very good
That's what I
question,
wanted to
and
check
we
out.
are wrestling. So you can pray about this.
Sure.
Wording is everything in a bill.
Sure.
So we find as we look at some of the stuff, they get stuck in committee, they call it, and never get to the House floor because the wording in it. So we're looking at things of, and here's the two words. In it, when we talk about having release time, the word may or shall.
Oh, okay.
See?
Interesting.
There's the very difference when we look at that. Tennessee just passed it, and they use the word shall, meaning that now they can go to the different districts, and it's pretty much a stated deal that if the students want it, you really need to do it.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
See,
That's good. That's good.
So there can't be as much pushback. If it gets put through, as that's what we're anticipating will happen, then we've got to go to each school district, and find out where's it a fit into your curriculum for graduation as an elective, humanities, social science, somewhere in there. We can have Bible history, biblical training in there. So
that's great.
It's that's going to adjust.
Well, and just imagine, so this is just us as Christians being smart and capitalizing on the cultural norms that are out there. Public school is the most attended school in America right now, right? And it might change after COVID. I don't know what's going to happen, but it is right now. And so how can we, obviously, you want youth pastors going and having lunches at schools and formulating clubs there that are student-led, and everyone's been doing that forever. This is the next step. This is the next big step to get into giving kids credit, first of all, which who wouldn't like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then it's also, so not only is it, hey, Christian kids are going to think this is great, I can go to that, but it's another avenue, 5 days a week, to invite your non-safe friends to, hey, why don't you come? It's just a semester, man, and you're getting credit for it anyway, so why don't you just come? It might be the worst thing in the world, but it can't be worse than geometry, so why don't you just come with me?
My mentality, if I would be in school, would be like, oh, I want to get out of here. Let me go walk to the church for
and then once they're in that setting,
they're going to love it.
Just get into that setting.
Yeah.
And the amount of kids that are saved through school ministries, they have up to 40% of the kids that come into release time accept the Lord.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And the truth of it is, what's the statistic on how many Christians accepted the Lord before they turned 18?
Yeah.
It's astronomical.
It's
huge.
80%.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, 80%.
Yeah.
So let's get in there.
But then also after the fact, right? So they come to Christ before the age of 18. 80% of them put their faith in Jesus.
Yep.
Once they leave high school, 60 to 70% of them fall away from their faith.
Yep.
Because there's no intentional
There's no depth.
discipleship being done.
Yep. Pizza parties with no substance, right? That's what has happened, not everywhere, but at a lot of places, that's what it's turned to. So yeah, we need biblical training. I always thought, I don't know if it was you who told me this, Bob, or Tim Reed, somebody, but they would talk about how stupid we are as churches to put the most inexperienced person in charge of the most impressionable people. Right? And it's like, what are we doing? We get some 19-year-old that has a mohawk to be in charge of these high school students that are dying in the public schools, right? This is a counteract to that. This is, hey, let's get it together and let's really train these kids in depth in ways that they can grow and they can be campus missionaries. There's just so much you can mobilize from this, and I hate to say it, but like the Mormons, right? Yep. And if they're doing it, well, we've got the truth on our side, so we can do a better job of it.
Yeah, we got the real Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think that this is awesome. So if people are out there listening to this and they want to help, is there anything you need help with this bill? Like, can people sign something, do something?
That's good. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah. Well, we do need. We are looking for public people in positions that are born again Christians, and we met with the mayor of Chandler and some on the east side. But we know that we need those endorsements. We need those kind of people. So if you happen to know someone that's a believer that's in the state house or the state senate, you can send that to. My email address is youthlink1, youthlink, the number 1 at gmail.com. We will check those people, get in contact with them, and find out how we can, because we need to build that up to be able to do that. On the other side, to get a bill passed and all, we will use our nonprofit status if people want to donate towards that.
Okay.
There's just a case where we need that, and we have a 501c3 where people can donate and help us out with that. So
great.
it is it's a big task. I never thought I was going to be doing some political thing with a bill and stepping into it, but literally I'm going to be down at the Capitol a whole lot in the next few months, knocking on doors and meeting with people down there.
Awesome.
And but it's surprising. There are a lot of born again Christians that we do have, and we just need to know who those people are so we can contact them and be in.
Yeah, and even in general, I mean, that's something that we're still working on. We're still trying to navigate through what does this board look like?
Sure.
What does what does our team look like? Who's going to be on staff? What are the dynamics of this team? And so we're still trying to put that together. And so if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Bob. Easy place to reach me at is Instagram, MAY24ITO. Also, you can reach me at mario.delgado at rockpointchurch.com.
Sweet. And we'll put all those links in the show notes, so you don't have to memorize that. You can just click if you go to the notes, and you'll get linked up right away. Well, this is awesome, guys. We're obviously, Bob, we've talked about this for a while and been praying about it, and I just think it's such a vital. It's so important, man, to teach the theology and apologetics to students before they go out there and get ripped to shreds by their atheistic professors. It's true.
No.
If we can have more of an impact, and we can dive into loving kids by getting legislation passed, right? Because that's what it all comes down to. We love the souls of these people, and we want to impact the world for Christ.
If we would anticipate it's going to get passed and this kind of thing, but even if it doesn't and this kind of thing, what is happening to these kids as I go out, I see an appetite, a desire, a passion that they're on mission when they go back into their campus and impact. So there are times now where Mario gets called by SGA, by student government. They're going, Mario, we need to talk to you about what we're putting on at our school. The public high school wants him to be involved with what's going on because they see the impact of what the church and these students. So you got football players and track players and baseball, and you got people in all kinds of areas of the arts that are a part of the release time, and they are going out. And what a novel idea, the kids reaching their own peers. Wow, isn't that something?
Indigenous ministry. It's crazy, right? Who would have thought?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you guys so much for joining us today. This is awesome. We're praying for you. Obviously, God's in this. It's going to get passed. So next year we'll have you back on. You'll tell us how there's 45 different high school groups across the city, and we're moving into New Mexico. Who knows what's going to happen, right?
Hey, let's go. Let's bring it in.
That's what we got to do. So, hey, and thank you, listeners and viewers, for watching Christ Culture and Coffee today. If you can, remember to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, anywhere. It really helps us out, get notoriety,
please.
reach more people with awesome information like this and apologetics. And also, if you would share the show too, if you have, like Bob was saying, if you know somebody who's in public education, you know somebody who's in politics in the state of Arizona, man, we would really love for you to share this with them.
Yes, please.
And get them hooked up so that we can all, as the body of Christ, start to make an impact on our culture here in Arizona.
Yeah, and then not only that, as a podcast too, our main focus is equipping Christians to be able to defend their faith and be confident in their faith, and that's exactly what this ministry is doing to students. And so thank you guys for your just work and your concentration on this type of ministry field, because there's definitely a need for it. And so again, thank you guys so much, though, for joining us today on Christ Culture and Coffee. We will be back with you guys next week as we continue to equip Christians to be able to defend their faith and be confident.